Welcome to the Cannes Lion Festival, a global festival of creativity, innovation, and marketing. We're here at the Stagwell Speakers Lounge in the Content Studio, where speakers are going from the main stage to this studio as we explore what the future looks like and what's happening of the best-in-class marketers around the world. Today, you're going to see behind me what's going on in the background, but we also in the studio, I'm Shannon Pruitt, I'm the Global Chief Content Officer for Stagwell Media Network. This is Jeff Miller, my friend and colleague of a long time, who works for Snap. He's the Senior Director and General Manager of Arcadia, which is Snap's in-house AR creative studio. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Of course. I say partners in crime. That's the best label.
Partners in crime. Yeah. We're not really colleagues as much as we are partners in crime. That is true. So especially in Cannes. So Jeff, yes. I always love talking to you because, and also I continue to be so impressed by what Snap is doing in terms of innovation. And, you know, being in Cannes, seeing all this work where brands are working so hard to transform the way that they connect with consumers and how that is becoming increasingly challenging in the world as we knew it. But now it opens up so much more opportunity, and Snap is really leading the way in that. And I would love to just hear a little bit more from your perspective about how Snap and Arcadia are really transforming that connection through the work that you're doing.
Well, you said the word right there at the core is connection. And for us, everything starts with our community. And especially when you think about that in the context of augmented reality. Yeah. For us, we're designing products with great intention around learned behaviors. And so right now we have 250 million people using AR on our platform every single day.
Oh my gosh,
and
amazing.
For us, that is incredibly exciting because we're forging this new technology in a way that feels native to how they communicate and how they explore the world around them. And for us in Arcadia, we are the in-house creative studio, as you say, for Snap. And so the way I describe us is voyagers into the night.
Yeah.
And really thinking about new applications of AR that are not performative, but are actually thinking about solving real problems for brands, for partners, and most importantly for our community. So it's extremely fun to work on. It's also really fulfilling because we're doing things that, if we do it well, will ultimately scale and be in this community of 250 million people, adopt it more broadly.
Yeah.
So I like to think that we're playing one small part of a much grander vision. And at Snap, I think what's the most fun part about working there is the pace of innovation, change, mistakes that we make, mistakes that we learn from, and how we grow from that is really the exciting part of the future.
Yeah. So I always think, especially for context, right? Like talking about AR, you know, while everyone's sort of behind their phone and, you know, we've done lenses and things like that, this opportunity that you're really creating for brands with Arcadia is so, you know, astounding, really. So can you give a couple, or maybe just one example of kind of a best-in-class case study for what work you've done with Arcadia and a brand to just help bring it to life for the folks that are watching?
Sure. One brand that really stands out is Nike and what they did in retail. And they worked directly with Snap as part of a brand lab where we started to think about, like, how can we help you solve a problem? And that was focused on that notion of every body is an athlete, like this real core ethos that we all know Nike has, and how that needs to translate in retail in ways that has much greater representation.
Yes.
So we collaborated with them and their partners to bring to life in retail these experiences where you would see more representative bodies and shapes and sizes and ethnicities. And our technology enabled you to look at a mannequin there and actually bring to life the bodies, the types of the people of Watertown, Massachusetts. In that store specifically, we were bringing to life that community. So when you go in there, you'd see people that you may even know represented not just on the walls, but actually in 3D directly around you. And you'd see recommendations from them about the fit and the styles that they love. So to me, this was just such an incredible and contextual experience that really stood out of what great work in the context of retail could look like.
Yeah. And also how you translate that experience into the real world and how you translate it sort of through the line for the customer, right? And really creating that, not only a positive association, right? And reflecting kind of how people are changing and how we're marketing, but also like bringing it to life in different ways, right? Which is really the challenge for so many marketers. I also think you guys have done, some really amazing partnerships. So I know one we recently did was Live Nation.
Yes.
And I also know that you did a program with the Great Barrier Reef. I would love, as brands are really thinking about how to extend, how we capture these people in their real lives, right, and have them interact, but also, a big focus on sustainability for a lot of brands. Maybe talk a little bit of, about that work that you guys have done. I think that would be great for everybody.
Absolutely. And as I think about sustainability, obviously we know that in the context of the environment, and GBR is an incredible example of that. But also, of course, in the sustainability of the products that we're building. That I think what so often happens with AR is people do things as a one-off and they never come back around. So starting with Live Nation, we've collaborated with them on festivals and artist tours. We're developing experiences that are going to be specific to each festival and artist tour, but we can learn each time and get better and stronger. So our first example of this was at EDC in Las Vegas. And what was so cool about that I think brands can learn from is that it started with a consumer problem. They came to us and they said, look, we have two main problems. One, it's really hard to get connectivity on site, and our festival starts at midnight. And right now, we don't have a way to get people around the festival in the dark. So we built out with them a 3D model of their entire 40,000 square foot festival grounds, integrated live set data, and so anyone at any time, regardless of connectivity, because we pre-cached it, was able to navigate the grounds and get to the set that they needed to. And the second problem they said is when you're in a festival in the dark, you lose your friend if you turn around. There's 100,000 people here. I'm never gonna be able to find them. And so we created a friend finder built on our Snap map that would give you the ability to find your friends anywhere in the festival. It was so cool, and that to me is like a great example of AR utility. And then in the context of Great Barrier Reef, that's all about how you raise awareness for a real world issue that is rapidly creating real problems in the reef off the coast of Australia. So we partnered directly with the GBR Foundation to bring the reef to life on water outside of Bondi Beach. And that to me was incredible because it was new technology, water segmentation, to raise awareness for a real issue. Like you saw the reef today, and then what the reef will look like 10, 20, 30 years from now if we don't take action. And it spurred directly the Australian government to take action. So it was incredible to see these experiences adding real world utility for festival goers and creating real action in governments across the world.
Yeah, you said something interesting, right? So we like to say it should be a commitment, not a campaign.
Yes, it's well put. Yeah.
And I think, that's a beautiful demonstration.
That also applies to relationships, by the way.
1,000%, right? You should also commit, not be on a campaign basis with your partners. Just love notes from Jeff and Shannon.
From the experts.
The experts. Welcome to our new talk show. Okay, so now one final question.
All right, I'm ready.
The hard one. Are you ready? Okay. So if you had known then what you know now, right? How would you use the best piece of professional advice you've ever been given?
So the best piece of professional advice I would say is to stay humble and have long-term perspective. So often early in my career, I was focused on title or the next level or even compensation near term. And what I've learned through the years was that the people around me, the people that have most inspired me, whether they're my peers, people who work for me or above me, have always been motivated by experience first and chasing something that's going to make them uncomfortable, doing the unknown. And to me, that's how I really try to live my career, my life by now, because I find it deeply fulfilling to feel uncomfortable. And often that's when you're going to learn the most. And I think that applies not just for your career, but certainly in the world of AR, is doing things that are going to put you outside your comfort zone, that is going to help your brand to excel and resonate with your community.
Yeah, and I think, to that end, right, where in the discomfort is where the growth lives. And I watched your career as your friend and as your sort of peer and partner in crime. And, to see even the evolution of your own career and how you've even elevated up through Snap, I think has been really, really great. And clearly you're living that advice, which is awesome to see.
And the immortal words of Patrick Swayze in Ghost, ditto.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, well, that is a wrap from this session of the Speakers Lounge, where, like Snap, Stagwell is also transforming marketing and a challenger, and has really we're rising. We're all rising. which is wonderful. And for more on Stagwell, you can follow us on LinkedIn at Stagwell and Twitter @Stagwell.